Om Jnanatamrandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmalatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master has kindly opened my eyes with a shining torchlight of transcendental knowledge. I therefore offer my respectful obeisances to his lotus feet. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So we're continuing our reading of Bhagavad Gita from chapter 10, entitled The Opulence to the Absolute. Text 15 continued. So this is the third session on this verse. Yeah, very interesting. We had a discussion on the translation, and then last week the first half of the purport. And Prabhupada put so much in just this first paragraph of the purport. Could just speak for ages about this important stuff. So we'll read the verse again and then continue on in the purport. Text 15. So yeah, and just to recap that in this section, very important section, if we want to understand the Bhagavad Gita, we want to understand who Krishna is. How can we do that? Only if we follow in the footsteps of the previous devotees. That is the process, and we know that is called parampara, disciplic succession. So we have to follow the disciplic succession. In this case, Arjuna has heard from Krishna, so he is understood directly from Krishna. So the best way to understand Bhagavad Gita is to follow in Arjuna's footsteps in this case. And exactly the way he understood it, we should understand it the same way. And like he said in text 14, that Arjuna's understanding there is that whatever you have said, Krishna, I accept that in truth. So have full faith in Krishna's words. So if we want to understand in Bhagavad Gita, what should we do? We should have full faith in Krishna's words. If we don't believe in what Krishna is saying, as so many people, they don't accept Krishna's words. No one. Yeah. Johnny just thought someone came online. There was a bit of a noise, but no one else is there. Yeah, so many people, they don't accept Krishna's words. They don't accept that Krishna's God like that. They don't accept devotional service. So many things they don't accept, and they make up so many concoctions. And Prabhupada talks a lot about that in the purport. That demons, like in the beginning of the purport of text 15, persons of demoniac or atheistic mentality cannot know Krishna. Mental speculation that leads one away from the Supreme Lord is a serious sin. And one who does not know Krishna should not try to comment on Bhagavad Gita. So only if we follow in the footsteps of the devotees can we understand Krishna. And that means we ourselves have to become a devotee. We have to be a devotee of a devotee. So that is the process, to be a servant of the servant, a devotee of the devotee. Then we can understand Krishna. And then you become qualified to talk about Krishna. Then you become qualified to write about Krishna. So Prabhupada's point there, that if you're not a devotee, if you're a demoniac person, should not try to comment on Bhagavad Gita. So most people that have written Bhagavad Gita, they're not devotees. So Prabhupada's saying they don't have any qualification. We know, people who were the Prime Minister, President of India have written the Bhagavad Gita. And Dr. Radhakrishna, he was Prime Minister of India at one point. And Prabhupada disagreed immensely on what he said about Bhagavad Gita. He has so many mistakes in his Bhagavad Gita. The Mahatma Gandhi, very elevated person, a great politician, but Prabhupada disagreed in his version of the Bhagavad Gita. He also wrote on Bhagavad Gita. like that. Of course, Prabhupada had great respect for him. Prabhupada in his early days was a follower of Gandhi's movement.
But I've got a
Prabhupada
question
himself.
there.
Yeah.
It's Prabhupada there 50 years ago. So 4,950 years, how the people following? Which Gita people are following? Prabhupada just translate 50 years ago. So 4,950 years time, Indian people, what Gita they were following?
The other Vaishnava Acharyas, even in other disciplic sessions, we know there's 4 disciplic sessions remaining intact in Kali Yuga.
And they did
So
then
Ramanujacharya, he wrote on Bhagavad Gita. So his is authentic, Ramanujacharya. Madhvacharya, like that. So a lot of the great acharyas, they have written on the Bhagavad Gita. So those ones are Vallabhacharya, Jayanti said. Vallabhacharya has also written. So these ones can be accepted because they're written by devotees.
Succession. Okay.
Yeah, they're written by devotees. But there's so many, there's hundreds and hundreds written by non-devotees.
So many.
And they're not only the non-devotees, but they're like demons. If you go by, like we read about that from the 16th chapter.
Anyone knows Sanskrit can translate Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah, but that's not the qualification.
Yeah, that's right.
To be a scholar. That's the thing, to be an academic, to be a scholar, to have a PhD in Sanskrit or something. That's not the qualification to make comments on Krishna's words. Without understanding, I mean, without accepting what Krishna's saying, how can you comment? You know, you don't even people don't even accept that Krishna's God. You know, in many of these versions, never once even mentions that Krishna's God. How can you have a whole Bhagavad Gita, 18 chapters, and not once, you repeat that Krishna's God? You know, that's just evil. Krishna's saying that you like diverting people from Krishna's message and twisting Krishna's message. Like Gandhi said, that he doesn't even think that the Battle of Kurukshetra actually happened. He says that it's just an analogy to help us understand different things. He said that the Kurukshetra represents the body. And the Pandavas are analogy to the 5 senses. So just like you have 5 senses, he said the Pandavas, the 5 brothers, are an analogy for the 5 senses. And the Kurukshetra is an analogy for the body. And like that. So he concocted in his brain so much stuff. And Prabhupada pointed out, well, you can go to Kurukshetra today, just out of Delhi. It's a physical place. It's actually a real place. It's not just some analogy, some made up thing. So there's actually a historical event. The battlefield happened there 5,000 plus years ago, 18 days. That actually physically happened in the history of the earth. It's not just some analogy to help us understand some philosophical points. But like so many people, they twist it. And Prabhupada said, if you want to present your philosophy, do that. But just say it's Abhai's philosophy. It's Deepa's philosophy. It's Gulshan's philosophy. It's Gandhi's philosophy, Radha Krishna's philosophy. Don't say this is Bhagavad Gita. That's demoniac, it's like if you say, Gulshan goes around and says, Abhai said this, Abhai said that, Abhai said this, Abhai said that. Now, if I didn't even say it, but you're saying that I said it, that's wrong, isn't it? That's cheating. That's cheating. You can't do that. If you want to say something, say whatever you like. This is Abhai's philosophy, is that we all came from fairy loka and where our grandparents were purple Martians with 3 heads or whatever like that. You say that, but that's like my philosophy. Don't say that Krishna's, said this. That's wrong. So that was Prabhupada's point. And that's why Prabhupada added as it is after the Bhagavad Gita. He's presenting it exactly the way according to what Krishna was presenting. you know, with the way he was intending us to understand, and not twisting the meaning. And Prabhupada made a very important point too. Sometime you need to interpret something, right? Give your interpretation. But his point was that you only interpret something if the meaning is not clear. But if the meaning is clear, then why interpret? You know, like, you know, if Krishna says in 10.8 that Aham Savasya Prabhava, I'm the source of everything, that's clear. I mean, what's there to interpret about that? You say, I'm the source of everything, everything emanates from me. In the 9th and 18th chapter, he says, Man mana bhava mad bhakto. Think of me, become my devotee, worship me, offer your respect to me. And, you know, why interpret that? That's clear. You know, you got to think of Krishna. But Dr. Radhakrishna, on that verse, he comments that it's not to Krishna the Krishna, the person, that we need to surrender to, but to the impersonal oneness within Krishna, like that. So why do that? Why twist the meaning? The meaning is clear. Why try to twist it away from the real meaning of the verse? You know, so this is cheating. This is cheating. And, you know, it comes with every conditioned soul has 4 defects. So one of the defects is a cheating propensity. So you can see in a conditioned soul, this cheating propensity comes out. You know, because see, the Bhagavad Gita is famous. It's a famous book. You go and put your name you have your own commentary on that, then you're going to become famous. You know, you're going to make more profit. You're going to make money out of that. You're going to, piggybacking on Krishna's book, you're going to make money out of that, and you're going to become famous like that. But that's demoniac, you know, just for some temporary material benefit and profit, fame, whatever. You know, you are twisting Krishna's words and presenting your own philosophy, imperfect philosophy. This is wrong. And like Prabhupada said, you know, they've diverted millions and millions of people away from Krishna, away from surrendering to Krishna. And, you know, see the vast majority of people, even if they have contacted Bhagavad Gita, but they haven't become devotees of Krishna. Prabhupada mentions in the introduction to Bhagavad Gita, before his Bhagavad Gita as it is, not one person became a pure devotee of Krishna. You know, in recent times, no one. But after he wrote Bhagavad Gita as it is, suddenly you've got hundreds and thousands of people became fully surrendered devotees of Krishna. You know, because he is given just the pure words of Krishna like that. Okay, so let's read the verse again, text 15. Swayam evatmanatmanam
Swayam eva natmananam
Vaita tvam purushottama
Vaitatam Purushottama
Bhuta bhavana bhutesha
Bhuta Bhavana Bhuteshu
Deva deva jagatpate.
Deva Deva Jagatpate.
Okay, one of you can read the translation, please.
Indeed, you alone know yourself by your own eternal potency. O Supreme Person, origin of all, Lord of all beings, God of the gods, Lord of the universe.
So like we explained the last 2 times, that the person that knows someone the best is themselves. Who knows Gulshan the best? Gulshan. Who know Deepa the best? Deepa. Like that. So obviously, who knows Krishna the best? Krishna. If you want to understand about Krishna, who's the best person to ask? But who's the best person to hear from? From Krishna. Yeah, hear from Krishna. And therefore, Krishna's come to the earth and he's telling about himself. People have doubts and confusion about who God is. Well, God came himself to clear it up. You can't figure out who I am. Well, here I am, and this is what I look like. This is what I do. This is how you can get out of the material world. This is how you can go back to the spiritual world. This is how you can know me. This is what you need to do. Everything's clear. So we're very fortunate, to have Bhagavad Gita as it is. So we're hearing about God directly from God, you know. But apart from hearing, God is the best person to hear from about God, obviously. But the next best person to hear from is someone that's devoted to God. And we know that Arjuna does have a good understanding about God, and he's presented his understanding in the second part of this translation. What is Arjuna's realization? O Supreme Person. So Arjuna's realized that he's Purushottama. This is Purushottam the month of Purushottama. So nice that he's mentioning that in this month. So it means the Supreme Person, the topmost person. Purusha means person, Uttama means the topmost, the supreme. So that's Arjuna's realization. That's the right realization. So the devotee, God knows himself the best, but apart from that, the devotee also knows to a great degree. Not 100%, but even, 90%, 95%, 99%, that's plenty good enough for me, like that. So they have a great understanding of God. Because they're a devotee, then they love God, then God reciprocates and loves them. And just like Arjuna has great trust in Krishna's words, so Krishna reciprocates and Krishna trusts the devotee. Not only the devotee. Huh? Yeah. And Jayanti is saying in 10:11, he enlightens them in their heart. So yeah, the devotee cannot be in ignorance about God because of their surrender to God and their complete trust in God, God trusts them, and he delivers so much knowledge and realization about himself into the heart of the devotee. And externally also, Krishna arranges that he sends the guru to the devotee, he sends the other devotees to help the aspiring devotee. So he gives the scriptures, so many things. So he's always trying to help the devotees, because the devotees have complete faith in him and are completely devoted, as we read in 10:10, that their lives are, complete, or they're constantly serving him with love. They're constantly serving him with love. So Krishna is very pleased by that behavior, and he enlightens them, as is said there in 10:10, 10:11. He enlightens them in their heart, so they can't possibly be ignorant about God, the devotee. So here we're hearing Arjuna's realization. You are the Supreme Person. You are the origin of all. You are the Lord of all beings. You are the God of all gods, Lord of the universe. So either we need to hear from God about himself or hear from the devotees about talking about God, like that. That is the way to understand, like that. And nobody else, except for God and God's devotees, no one else has an understanding about God, a full understanding about God. What happened? It disappeared.
What disappeared? We're here.
Oh yeah, okay. The picture, the picture of you guys just disappeared. I must have
bumped
I
it.
bumped something. Sorry. Oh, there we go. Giant T.
Then come.
Yeah, let's just. Anyway, I'm glad that you're still there. It's just, oh, there we are. Okay. In my excitement, I must have left.
One day
the
we'll
button.
depart. A picture won't be there. One day we'll depart.
Ah,
A
la,
picture
la.
won't be there,
Yes.
and you have to delete our numbers, and then one less member in the class. The day will come. I'm looking forward to that day in Krishna's will.
Yeah. And we'll be looking at Krishna face to face.
Yes. Separation. At the moment, we are in the separation.
Yeah.
And then anxiety, when we, how the moment gonna be the same face to face to Krishna. That'll be like, you know, thousands of suns just brighten up.
Yes,
It'll be like,
yeah.
you know, and you're
Yeah.
choking, you can't even talk and you can't even hear anything, and your throat is getting dry. And then you just look at it, boys, and you think that, wow, wow, wow.
Nice, nice.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, so Arjuna is expressing such nice understanding of Krishna in this verse. So let's continue that purport. So we read Gulshan read the first paragraph. Deepa, do you want to do the second paragraph? It starts off as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam. No need to read the Sanskrit. You can just start from the supreme truth.
Okay, the supreme truth is realized in three aspects: as impersonal Brahman, localized Paramatma, and at last, hang on, Gulshan, you want to take over because I got to get my glasses, you know.
Okay. The supreme truth is realized in three aspects: as impersonal Brahman, localized Paramatma, and at last as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, at the last stage of understanding the absolute truth, one comes to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A common man or even a liberated man who has realized impersonal Brahman or localized Paramatma may not understand God's personality. Such man, therefore, may endeavor to understand the Supreme Person from the verse of Bhagavad Gita, which are being spoken by this person, Krishna. Sometimes the impersonalists accept Krishna as a Bhagavan, or they accept his authority. Yet many liberated persons cannot understand Krishna as a Purushottama, the Supreme Person. Therefore, Arjuna addressed him as Purushottama. Yet one still may not understand that Krishna is the father of all living entity. Therefore, Arjuna addresses him as Bhuta Bhavana. And if one comes to know him as the father of all the living entities, still one may not be know him as the supreme controller. Therefore, he is addressed here as Bhutesha, the supreme controller of everyone. And even if one knows Krishna as the supreme controller of all living entity, still one may not be known that he is the origin of all demigods. Therefore, he is addressed herein as Devada, Devada, the worshipful god of all demigods. And even if one knows him as the worship god of demigods, one may not know that he is supreme proprietor of everything. Therefore, he is addressed as a Jagatpati. Thus, the truth about Krishna is established in this verse by the realization of Arjuna, and we should follow him, follow in the footstep of Arjuna to understand Krishna as he is. It's very deep. Some they even say they realize, but still they don't.
Yeah, that's what Prabhupada's explaining here, that people have different levels of realization. We're not all on the same level. We all have different levels. And as Deepa started by quoting that verse from Bhagavatam, that God is realized in three different aspects: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So now we're not even like it. We've heard that demons shouldn't come anywhere near the Bhagavad Gita. They should just stay away from it and not try to think they know it and everything. But now we're not talking about demons. Now we're talking about devotees. But even amongst persons that are trying to understand God, okay? So demons means they don't accept there is God. There's no God. But now we're talking about people that they do have faith that there is God, but even though amongst those people, there's three aspects of their different realizations. So one is that they understand God is just all-pervading energy, Brahman. So, and they're called impersonalists. So they're called impersonalists, as Prabhupada mentions. So they are just focused on the impersonal Brahman. There's an all-pervading spiritual energy. And then a more realized person understands that God is actually present in a localized form in the heart of every living entity. Even in the heart of the atom, the heart of the microscopic bug, and the heart of Lord Indra and Brahma, in the heart of every living thing, there's God is present there in the form of Paramatma. And that feature of God has a form. The Brahman doesn't have a form. It's just energy. But now we've moved up to God has a form, and that form is distributed everywhere in the material creation within the heart of every living entity. And then further most realized is Bhagavan realization, when the person realizes that there is a supreme person who resides in the spiritual world, Vaikuntha, and he's playing his flute and herding the cows and dancing with the gopis and so forth. And that sometimes he comes to the material world, like that, different forms. And that these Paramatman and Brahman are different features of him, but this is the supreme complete realization, is the realization of Bhagavan. So yes, so many different realizations that people have about God, but the devotee is understanding everything. The devotee, pure devotee of the Lord, is Brahman realized, Paramatma realized, and Bhagavan realized. Once you've realized Bhagavan, then it means you automatically must have realized Paramatma and Brahman. But if you're only Brahman realized, then you haven't realized Paramatma, you haven't realized Bhagavan. If you're Paramatma realized, you've realized Brahman and you've realized Paramatma, but not Bhagavan. But Bhagavan realized means everything you've realized, It's like if you're at primary school, well, that's the knowledge that you have, And if you're secondary school, well, you know everything from primary plus secondary. And if you're tertiary, well, you know primary, secondary, and tertiary. And you're a PhD, well, you know everything, So like that, and then it's, complete. So, but the essence, Prabhupada has summed up everything to make it very clear at the last sentence. Thus, the truth about Krishna is established in this verse by the realization of Arjuna. And we should follow in the footsteps of Arjuna to understand Krishna as he is. Like that. So that is perfectly said by Prabhupada. So the truth about Krishna, where can we find that from? From the realization of Arjuna. The truth about Krishna, we can get that by the realization of Arjuna. And we should follow in the footsteps of Arjuna to understand Krishna as he is. So what does it mean we should follow in the footsteps of Arjuna?
Whatever Arjuna understand, the way he's dealing the Krishna, we should be like, if he's a Krishna is a supreme personality of Godhead, we just say yes, supreme personality of Godhead. If he says that Krishna, as you say, I'm gonna do, we have to say as Krishna say, and we do. Whatever Arjuna say, we just follow.
Yeah, we follow exactly. Well said,
Yeah.
Gulshan.
Yeah.
So yeah, Arjuna is saying that Krishna is the supreme person, Purushottama. So what do we say? Krishna is the supreme
That's
person,
right.
Krishna is Jagat Pate, he's the master of the universe. So what do we say? Krishna is the master of the universe. So like that, exactly. We follow down the line. We repeat what. And that way to be a devotee is real simple. You don't have to be a rocket scientist. You don't have to you know, be super academically qualified or have a big brain or anything like that, or you don't have to be born in Bharatavash in India or something like that with Brahmin parents or anything like that. All you need to do is you just need to sincerely follow your teacher, sincerely follow your guru. Whatever the guru says, you do the same thing like that. Like Prabhupada said, you know, if the guru asks the disciple for water, the disciple shouldn't think, oh, water's not very good. Milk is a lot better than water. I'll bring him milk. He might be thinking, oh, milk is superior than water. I'll bring my guru milk. But no, the guru asks for water. Just give him water. Just do what you're told.
What
But it's like
happened?
becomes so hard in Kali
But
Yuga.
what happened if the guru wants ask for a poison, and you as a disciple, would you give it a poison or not?
No.
No, the guru's not going to ask such a stupid thing. Come on, Gulshan.
It's okay. But yeah,
That
it's
reminds
like
me, it's a very controversial
Mhm.
pastime of Prabhupada at the very end of his manifest pastimes in 1977, just about 4 or 5 days before he passed away. It was Govardhan Puja, and Prabhupada was in Vrindavan. And Prabhupada asked, you take me around Govardhan in a bullock cart. And at that time, Prabhupada was just skin and bones, you know, like no flesh in between. Even little movements would give him great pain. And he couldn't walk or anything. So what he said is just put me on a bed on a cart and it'd be towed by bullocks. And he wanted to do that. You know, he said he wanted to do that on Govardhan Puja. It's a nice thing. Do parikram on Govardhan Puja. It's very nice to do Govardhan parikrama. Circumambulate the hill. It takes about, as we know, on foot, it takes like 5 or 6 hours. We did that, Deepa, you remember? Yeah, we did that. It's about at least 5 or 6 hours. On a bullock cart, might be a bit faster, but still many hours. And some of the devotees hearing Prabhupada's order, you know, take me on a bullock cart around Govardhan, they said, yes, sir. Yes, sir, we'll do it. Others said, no, no way. We're not going to do that. You know, we're not going to, no, you'll die, Prabhupada. It'll kill you. The shock of the shaking will kill you. So there was 2 camps of devotees.
Mhm.
One, yes, we'll just obey whatever the guru has said. And the other who will like disobey, but for the benefit of the guru, you know, for the benefit of the guru, but not wanting to carry out his instruction because feeling that it would hurt the guru like that. So, and they were arguing with each other like that. And Tamal Krishna, guys, Tamal Krishna, not a Swami at that time, just Tamal Krishna Das, he came to Prabhupada afterwards like crying and said, so many devotees don't want you to go. It's gonna kill you. Please don't go. And he was like begging Prabhupada like that. And one of Prabhupada's godbrothers was in the room, and Prabhupada turned to him and said, just see how much they love me.
Mhm.
Like that. And he said to Tamal, if the devotees don't want me to go, I won't go.
Ah.
So he didn't go. He didn't go. Because he came under the control, interestingly, of the devotees' love for him. And that's one of Krishna's qualities too. He's the supreme controller. We just read that, right? And Arjuna's realization that he's the Deva. You know, he's the Bhutesha. Bhuta means living entities, and Isha means the master. He's the master of all living entities.
Did you do that? When I tell you don't do something, you do that. No.
Shh. Don't disturb the class. And then Krishna also was like that. He comes under the control of the devotee's love like that, isn't it? He came under the control of Arjuna, isn't it? He was driving the chariot for Arjuna. He came under the control of Mother Yashoda. Mother Yashoda tied him up. He came under the control of Radharani like that. So that's the nature of love, that is very powerful force. And that love means bhakti. So if someone has bhakti, then it can control the person.
Yeah, the Jayanti Mataji will say no to the food one day, and then third day of that will be the last day. So you remember and take a look when she just put the plate away, I don't want to eat. That means third day. So you be prepared for that. You can just watch the moment, just read the Bhagavad Gita, sit down next to the bedhead and read all the Bhagavad Gita, 700 shlokas, and she'll be in there straight to Krishna Loka, one-way ticket.
And it's said that pure bhakti is very rarely achieved. That's the fifth characteristic of 6 characteristics of pure devotional service mentioned in the Nectar of Devotion. So, and the 6th one is connected to the 5th one, because the 6th one is that pure bhakti is the only means to control Krishna. So why is pure bhakti rare, so rarely to achieve, is because that very reason that to whoever Krishna gives that pure bhakti to, he comes under control of that. So therefore, Krishna is very careful who he gives that to, because it controls him completely. It's said that Ekala Ishvara Krishna Ara Sava Britya Yara Yacha Nachaya Se Tare Kare Nacha. That's a Bengali verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita. And then Krishna's Kaviraj is saying that there's only one master, Krishna. Ekala Ishvara Krishna. Ara Sava Britya means everyone else is a servant. And to whom he makes them dance, they will dance like a puppet. So he's the supreme controller. We're like puppets in his hand. However, with bhakti, so that's the tattva, that's the philosophy. But there's another aspect of the life of a devotee, and that's called, and God. There's the philosophy side of God and our lives, and there's also the rasa side. So rasa means the relationship. So that's the philosophy, the tattva, is that Krishna is God and we're all his servants. But in terms of rasa, and there's Krishna's relationships with his devotees, then he comes under the control of the devotee. And Krishna becomes like a puppet in the hand of the devotee. And that you will only learn in Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy. You will only learn that. You're not going to learn that in Christianity or Hinduism or Mohammedanism or any ism or anything. You're only going to learn that in Vaishnava philosophy, that God comes under the control of the love of his devotee. Not so much under the control of the devotee as such, but under the love of the devotee. It's the love that controls him, nothing else. And that is like, one of Krishna's most exquisite qualities that attracts the devotees to him. And he's known by a name in regards to that quality, and known as Bhakta Vatsalya. That Vatsala, that he's very affectionate to the devotees, and he will do anything. We know that in the Battle of Kurukshetra, Arjuna was just about to be killed by Bhishma. Arjuna's chariot was smashed. his armor was broken off. Bhishma had smashed his armor with bows and arrows. His crown was knocked off his head. He was on the ground. His bow and everything was scattered and everything. Bhishma, in just one moment more, was going to kill Arjuna. And Krishna, seeing that, to protect his devotee, he picked up that chariot wheel that was lying on the battlefield and ran at Bhishma to fight him, to protect Arjuna. And he'd broken his promise because he'd promised not to fight. Arjuna, seeing what Krishna was doing, he was equally mortified that Krishna, to save him, was breaking his own word. So Arjuna grabbed Krishna's leg. Can you imagine? Visualize this. Krishna's running with the chariot wheel up in the air to attack Bhishma. Arjuna's grabbed hold of Krishna's leg, trying to stop him because he doesn't want him to break his word like that. And Bhishma's in ecstasy watching, Krishna, the god of all the gods, Deva. Yeah, and Krishna, it's the name of Jayanti's father, Ratangapani Das. So Ratangapani is a name for Krishna where he picks up that Rath, the chariot. Anga means like part. So Rathanga, the part of the chariot, means the wheel of the chariot. So he's the Ratangapani. So he picked up that chariot wheel. So he's famous for his Ratangapani for that. And and he's also protecting Bhishma's word, because Bhishma had promised to Duryodhana that he would kill Arjuna today, or he would make Krishna break his word. It had to be one of the two. So Krishna not only protected Arjuna, but he protected Bhishma at the same time. That's called a genius. One of Krishna's qualities, 64 transcendental qualities, is called genius. Prati Banvata means genius. And the definition of genius is interesting. That one who can achieve many purposes at the same time. Krishna has that genius that he can achieve many things by doing one thing. Well, one thing and many things doing like that. So yeah, ecstatic pastime, and things like that just melt the devotee's heart. What Krishna will do for his devotee, he'll do anything. He'll do anything. One time in regards to trying to remember who it was in regards to. Anyway, I'll just say the end point, and I might remember later on who it was in regards to. Well, I think it was in regards to Durvasa Muni. Durvasa Muni had tried to kill a devotee named Ambarish. He tried to kill Ambarish. Durvasa Muni had come with 10,000 disciples along to one King Ambarish and of course the etiquette is that you're going to offer food to your guest. So no, that's another one. And then he accepted the invitation, but he said, "Oh, I've just got to take a bath," because that's part of the culture too. You want to be clean before you eat. So I'll just take a bath. But during that time, Ambarish Maharaj had been performing an Ekadasi fast, like we just had Ekadasi yesterday. But he did some special fast for 1 year. He was doing some special fasting. I don't know. He's just so highly in control of his senses. He can like fast for a year. And while Durvasa was away bathing, was the right time for him to break his fast. Otherwise, if he doesn't break fast at the right time, then his whole vow was like null and void sort of thing. So the Brahmanas, you know, were telling him, come on, you got to break fast. But then he couldn't, because that's part of the culture. You can't eat before your guests. If you're the host, you can't eat before your guest. That's rude, right? You don't eat before your guest eats. So, but also he had to please Krishna for the courtesy, you know, he had to break his fast proper, you know, at the right time. So the Brahmanas advised him, technically, if you drink water, you're not breaking your fast.
If you fasted with nothing.
If you fasted with nothing. But at the same time, you have sort of broken the fast because you took water, you know. So Durvasa, he took water. So, and then Durvasa, because he's a super yogi, he could tell that Ambarish, his host, had taken something. So he got very angry and he pulled a hair out of his head and smashed on the ground. And this great demoniac creature came out of there and attacked Ambarish to kill him. And Krishna, who is famous for, like I said, protecting his devotees in all circumstances, had kept his Sudarshan Chakra disc weapon there to protect his devotee. And the Sudarshan Chakra took out this demon. And then not only that, it then raced after Durvasa like that. And Durvasa Muni ran here and there trying to escape the Sudarshan Chakra. He first of all went to his brother. So Durvasa Muni's not a small-time guy. His brother, do you know who Durvasa's brother is? Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva. So Shiva said, sorry, bro, I can't help you. You know, what can I do? He's got God's personal weapon coming after him. Even Shiva can't do anything. Then he went to his father. Guess who is, I've given you a clue. If he's Lord Shiva's brother, who's Durvasa's father? Oh, and who's Lord Shiva's father? Where does Lord Shiva come from? Where does Lord Shiva come from? One time, Lord Brahma got angry when four of his sons, the four Kumaras, disobeyed his instruction. He wanted them to produce the population, reproduce, and they wanted to remain brahmacharis. So they disobeyed their father. We're just going to remain brahmacharis. So he got angry, and Rudra, Lord Shiva, came out of in between his two eyes, came out of his forehead. So that's how Lord Shiva came. So Brahma is regarded as the father of Lord Shiva. So then Durvasa went to his father, Lord Brahma, and said, hey, Dad, come on, help me out here. I'm really getting burnt big time. And Brahma said, sorry, son, I can't help you. So then he's such a powerful yogi, he went into Vaikuntha. He went out of the material world into Vaikuntha to go and find Vishnu. And he did. He went right to Lord Narayan. He went right to Lord Narayan in Vaikuntha. That's how powerful a yogi is. And he offered his obeisances to Lord Narayan and said, please save me from this is your chakra. You please call it off. Please save me. And what did Lord Narayan say? Do you know what Lord Narayan said? Sorry, mate, can't help you. He said, my devotees are in my heart. And I am in my devotees' heart. They do not know anyone else except for me. And I do not know anyone else except for them. He said, I am not independent. I am under the control of my devotees. So basically he told him, you stuffed up, mate, big time by hurting my devotee. He was so upset. But he gave him a clue how he can get out of it. He said, the only way you can get out of this, you have to go back to my devotee, Ambarish. If he forgives you, only then will I forgive you. So he went all the way back. He traveled for 1 year running away from the Sudarshan chakra. He went all the way back to earth, all the way back to Ambarish. Ambarish felt so bad that what happened to his guest? What happened to my guest?
He's running
He felt so bad, he continued fasting for a year, another year. He continued
Oh.
fasting. And so Durrasa came back and like fell down, like he's crying. Oh, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. Ambarish said, no worries. I haven't felt offended. And then the Sudarshan backed off, like that. So, but one of the things the Lord said, I can't remember was that pastime or another pastime, that where the Lord said that if my hand hurt a devotee, I would cut it off. Just think about that.
Say again.
That's the intensity of the Lord's love. He said, if my own hand hurt a devotee, I would cut it off. What's that? I mean, we can't even comprehend the love between God and his devotees, it's intense.
Mm-hmm.
What
It's
happened
intense.
if it's two pure devotee fight, and then whom the Krishna will take a favor? The both are pure devotee.
Well, if they're both pure devotees, it's a special pastime. It's not a real fight. Like even in Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's arguments between Lord Nityananda, who is an expansion of Balaram, and Advaita Charya, who's a combined incarnation of Mahavishnu and Sadashiva. So they're both big personalities, but in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, they quite often they fight. They like criticize each other, and one time Lord Nityananda was picked up food off his plate and chucked it at Advaita Charya. So it's like, but Lord Chaitanya saw it as just a very sweet pastime between the two of them. He didn't take it seriously, because actually if they are truly two devotees, it's just a mock fight. It's not a real fight, which comes out of what, and fighting normally comes out of what? Tamagun, mode of ignorance. But there's no mode of ignorance in a devotee. If they're arguing, there's some purpose to it. There's some purpose to it. There's some hidden glorification. Actually, the insults Advaita Charya said about Lord Nityananda were actually sort of disguised praise, and vice versa. It seemed like an insult, but actually it was a disguised kind of praise. But you have to be advanced in Krishna consciousness to understand it as it is. If you're just a materialistic person, you're going to see, well, these guys are fighting, and like that. But then if you take a side, like on one side or the other, you're doomed. You're doomed. So it's better just to, if you don't know what's going on, just stand back, stay out of it. And if you do want to know what's going on, you'll probably be laughing and happy and in ecstasy and everything like that. So, yeah. But however, I would say in like ISKCON society, it's not all pure devotees. So we're a lot of Kanista Adhikaris.
I'm sure there'll be some pure devotee. It's not going to be all bogus.
But do you know, how are you going to know who is the pure devotee? Who's going to be able to tell that? Do you know what's the criteria is? What's the criteria for knowing who a pure devotee is?
Well, it's the criteria is the one thing, but who's the pure devotee? Only Krishna can tell. You and me or anyone.
No. Krishna can tell definitely, but there's someone
Yes.
else can tell, another pure devotee. So the pure devotee can tell who is the pure devotee. If what is the Kanista telling? The Kanista, it's written in so many books: Chaitanya Charitamrita, Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, Nectar of Devotion, The kanista adhikari, I'll tell you, according to those scriptures, what's in the head of a kanista adhikari, which means a materialistic devotee, means was a materialistic person trying to now become a devotee, but they're still oscillating in between being a devotee and being materialistic. They still have material desires and so forth. They have weak faith. That's mentioned Shraddha Komala. So their faith is very weak. The knowledge is also very less. So they have weak faith, less knowledge, and what are they thinking? The Kanistadikari thinks I am the most advanced devotee here. And all you guys are the neophytes. And I'm the pure devotee. So that's back to front. The neophyte thinks he's a pure devotee. Now what's in the head of a pure devotee? Do you know what a pure devotee thinks about himself?
That he's so low that he's not qualified, that he's, something like that.
Exactly. I'm not a devotee. That's why Durvasa couldn't offend Ambarish. Because Ambarish is thinking, I'm not a devotee. You can't offend me because I'm nobody. That's a good secret to know, how to never have any anxiety or tension or how to become completely tolerant and free from abusiveness and exploitation and so forth, is to be in that mode of consciousness that I'm nothing. I'm nobody. I am the lowest of the low. Then it's impossible to offend them. It's impossible to, because they're not expecting any respect, and that's what Lord Chaitanya said, to be more humble than the grass, tolerant than the tree, give all respect to others and don't expect any respect. And the advanced devotee is like that, more humble than the grass, tolerant than the tree, give respect to everyone, don't expect, because they have that realization that I'm so tiny, so insignificant. Whereas a materialistic person's so puffed up, they think they're so big, they're always feeling insulted, and they want everyone to respect them, and they don't respect anybody else like that. And they're always abusing and exploiting and everything, criticizing like that. So
Donald Trump, what kind of devotee is that? Donald Trump.
He's demon.
he's a devotee. He's devoted to his material desires. He's devoted to his material desires. And even if he talks about God, that's only a show to, God is to help in his sense gratification. Materialistic people, sometimes they'll even pray to God, please help get rid of all my enemies. But that's not Krishna consciousness. God's not our servant. The pure devotee will never ask God to do something for me. Krishna, can you do this for me? No, pure devotee is never going to ask. Krishna, can you bring me lots of money? Krishna, can you destroy all my obstacles, all my enemies, everything? The pure devotee is never going to ask God, please serve me. The pure devotee always wants to give service to God.
Durvasa Muni wasn't a pure devotee.
No, he's a yogi. But yogis have desires, usually they have desires for the cities, to achieve the Asta cities. They have desires, and that's desire. And like I said, he was such a great yogi, he could enter into Vaikuntha. But that doesn't mean he's anywhere near what a pure devotee is. Even the position of great demigods is insignificant compared to a pure devotee. Pure devotee's position is greater than demigods. Because even demigods have material desires. That's why they're demigods. Because they want to control something in the material world. So therefore they're given control of the sun, control of the moon, control of the heaven.
Pure devotee is equal to Krishna, because Krishna is become their servant.
Well, in that sense, if you're going to say that, then they're greater than Krishna. Of course, the pure
Because
devotee will never, ever think that.
no,
But
never
the
become
actual
Krishna.
And he
fact,
never misuse his
and never going to
position.
misuse that.
Mm.
And
No,
that's why, remember, Krishna's let them become a pure devotee because
because
Krishna is trusts that they're not going to misuse that.
Mm.
Because like I said, the pure devotee's position is greater than Krishna.
yeah,
That's far out. And like I said, you're only going to find that out in Vaishnava philosophy. You're never going to hear that anywhere else.
Prabhupada was a pure
And
devotee.
what's that? What's that? I
Prabhupada
didn't
was a
hear.
pure devotee.
100%, of course.
Prabhupada.
Yeah,
Prabhupada was a pure devotee. Yeah.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
And the
not-
evidence of that is there's a verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Krishna Shakti Vina Nahi Tara Pravatan.
Any other Prabhupada's disciples, they are pure devotee?
Oh,
Can we tell? Or
Can you finish that verse? Krishna Shakti.
Vina Nahi Tara Pravatan. That without being empowered by Krishna, you cannot spread Krishna
Yeah.
consciousness all over the world.
mm.
So Prabhupada spread Krishna consciousness like no one ever spread Krishna consciousness. So we know that he was empowered by Krishna. You're only going to get empowered by Krishna to spread Krishna consciousness if you're a pure devotee like that. So there's
is any
many
of the
different
Prabhupada
characteristics. What's that?
is any of the Prabhupada disciples are pure devotee?
I would say, because that's a difficult question to answer black and white way. So what I would say is there's different levels of pure devotees. So I would say Prabhupada did create many pure devotees, but I would say even whatever pure devotees they are, still not on the same level of Prabhupada as a pure devotee.
Sure.
So yeah, because we're all individual. So even the purity is, it's ongoing purity. It's not like it's all or nothing. There's different degrees. Even like prema, right? Prema is love, means love for God, but there's 5 stages of prema. So if you say, well, such and such devotee has got prema, yeah, but maybe he's on one of the lower of the 5. Like there's 3 persons that had the topmost prema, which is called Mahabhava. So they all have another name before it, so it'll be Mahabhava Prema. So there's 3 people only that ever in the material world have had Mahabhava Prema. One of them is Lord
Radharani.
Chaitanya.
Okay.
One of them is Radharani. So we're talking about high level persons here.
Yeah.
Lord Chaitanya is Krishna in the mood of Radharani. Radharani is Radharani, the topmost devotee.
Yeah.
And the other one's
Yeah.
Madhavendra Puri,
Okay.
who is a great devotee who was the spiritual master of Ishvara Puri. And Ishvara Puri is the spiritual master of Lord Chaitanya. So Madhavendra Puri was probably around like 700 years ago. So he's the third one, the only of 3 that had Mahabhava, the highest level of prema.
What
But there'll be
about
heaps of others that had
what
the
about
lower levels of prema.
what
So
about
I'm just
gopis?
saying there's different levels of,
Oh,
like you could say, pure devotee. But Prabhupada's level of pure devotee is like, wow, he's like off the Richter scale on
yeah.
what a pure devotee is. But the basic definition of pure devotee is mentioned in the Nectar of Devotion, and we read it a while ago and on Saturdays with Narendra in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Anyabhilasita shunyam jnana kamanavritam anukulyana krishnanu shilanam bhakti-uttama. So that means when you make all other desires 0, other desires other than what? The only one desire a pure devotee has, anukulyana krishnanu, means just to serve Krishna favorably, to cultivate those desires to serve Krishna favorably, So that's the definition of Bhaktir Uttama. It's mentioned in that verse, Bhaktir Uttama. So bhakti means devotional service, and uta means, topmost. So that's the topmost, which is like pure bhakti, is to not have any other desires other than to please Krishna, to serve Krishna. So, potentially we can all become pure devotees. And originally, of course, we're all pure devotees, because where did we come from? We all come from the
Krishna.
spiritual world.
Yeah.
We were all pure devotees. So temporarily we've fallen out of that. Now we may have many desires other than to please Krishna. And now, by contact with Prabhupada and his followers, now we're trying to get back to, like, we're just going to reduce it, reduce all those desires and reduce it to one desire, just to please Krishna. So that's work in progress. But, some persons have, progressed further than others like that. Because we're marginal, we can also oscillate between that. Sometimes, at some moments, we may be very pure in our devotional service, and other times we might slip back. We might slip back into having some desires. So it goes in between. Sometimes if I think back into my brahmachari days, the way we were living, it's like pure devotees. We didn't think about anything. We had no material possessions. We didn't even have a bank account. I didn't have a bank account for 10 years. I didn't have a bank. All the money we made from the selling books, we just gave it to our leader. Like, we didn't even know where the money went. We didn't care. We were just in ecstasy, just distributing books and distributing prasad and doing Harinam. So, I mean, Prabhupada's a genius, to create a program that can turn, even, because you can't get more materialistic person than what I was. You can even turn, completely materialistic people into like pure devotees just follow, like I was saying about following the footsteps, right? Just follow the program. He's given the just step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and like that, so incredible. So I would say, and I would say in the time Prabhupada was physically present, most of them were pure devotees. Because when he was physically present, he like supercharged everyone. One time, a person asked Prabhupada in a class, how many pure devotees are there? And Prabhupada asked the question, how many devotees are there in ISKCON? And someone gave a number, whatever it was, 5,000 or whatever it was, Prabhupada said, 5,000 pure devotees. But it was like that, they were all just on fire. They were all on fire. They didn't give a care about anything except that everyone wanted to please Prabhupada. Whatever it took, they would do it. Prabhupada would say, if you want to please me, distribute my books. They would just drop everything and go out and distribute books all the time like that. Whatever he would say, they just, like I was saying, like Arjuna had full faith in Krishna's words. Like Prabhupada's disciples like that had full faith in whatever Prabhupada said. This is the truth. We have to do it. Prabhupada's a pure devotee. We just have to do what he says. So they're like that, so. But however, I would say then, after Prabhupada physically left, it like pulled the plug out of, a lot of people's sockets, so. And it's very difficult, very difficult after Prabhupada left. So, but I still, I'm sure there are many pure devotees like that. One disciple, he's crazy. Just right now, he's a brahmachari in America, Indian body, but he's in America, pretty much American. He distributes a ridiculous number of books. I don't know how he does it. It's completely empowered by Krishna. It's ridiculous. I can't even think of the number. It's just like thousands of books he sells in a day. I couldn't believe it. He did like some ridiculous, like 70 Srimad Bhagavatam sets or something ridiculous. He sold in one day. I mean, how do you do that? He's definitely a pure devotee. I mean, God, he's connected with Krishna. Oh my God, that's crazy. So, I mean, yeah, no, definitely. But yeah, we have to be very careful, especially if we're not a pure devotee, then you're probably not going to know who's a pure devotee. So it's better just to take the humble approach, you know, take the humble approach. Take the humble approach, yeah. Maybe we have to be like those three monkeys. Hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil.
There's a fourth monkey I told you.
Johnny said there's a fourth monkey now.
It just sticks to the mobile phone.
The fourth monkey is they're just stuck.
It does all the other three and it sticks to the mobile.
It sticks to the mobile phone. That's the
The
newest monkey.
So it doesn't do anything.
It means it doesn't do anything. It's just stuck to the mobile.
Fourth one is the AI.
Yeah. Anyway. But yeah, the love between Krishna and the devotees is amazing. But even if we're not a pure devotee, Krishna still loves us too. You know, that's the thing. There's so much, because he knows our potential. He knows that deep down we're a pure devotee. And he's always trying to bring us back to being conscious of that. So Krishna's love is just so vast, so deep. It's amazing. But once someone consciously comes back to being a pure devotee, then wow, that's like far out. That's far out. The relationship between Krishna and
did Prabhupada mention that? Will he come back again? Anything?
Well, I mean, that's the etiquette, that if a disciple doesn't go back to Godhead, then the spiritual master comes back again to pull him by his seeker or whatever it takes to get him back to Godhead.
So if any of the Prabhupada disciples fall, so Prabhupada has to come back and pull him up.
Well, a disciple asked that to Prabhupada. That if your disciple doesn't go back to Godhead, does that mean you're going to come back again? And Prabhupada said, you should just try to sincerely follow my instructions. Don't try to bring your spiritual master back. Don't try to bring your spiritual master by being a, nonsense. Don't try to be a nonsense so that you're knowing that, well, anyway, it doesn't matter because my guru is going to have to come back to fix me up, That's not very good. I don't think Krishna is going to appreciate that mentality very much, trying to make your guru come back because, I can be a bit of a nonsense rascal because my guru is going to come back and get me anyway. No, we shouldn't think that. But it's said that the guru, like it's mentioned, famous Bilva Mangala Thakur, that who actually, he had become very materialistic, very lusty. He had an affair with a prostitute, and he took great effort to try to reach that prostitute, even on a stormy night. He risked his life to reach her, and her name was Chintamani, and when he finally met Chintamani, and she realized how he took so much effort, so determined to meet her, to enjoy with her, she said to him, if you had this intensity of desire that you have to enjoy me, if you had that intensity, determination to serve Krishna, you would be a pure devotee. And that just like light bulb went on, boom, and then he just said, okay, see you later.
But the thing is,
he became like a pure devotee. And that's said in that story that Chintamani was his guru, come back to him. His guru had come back to him in the form of the prostitute to deliver him. That's far out. Wow, a guru is a prostitute. You never know. Krishna works in mysterious ways.
Yeah, definitely. Because maybe Krishna come back as a prostitute to telling that his disciple, listen, man. And then, you never know. Krishna might come.
You never know.
Prostitute.
Krishna can do anything.
Right. Yeah,
Krishna can do anything. He can do anything.
That's the thing.
I mean, we know Krishna appears in the form of a fish. I mean, that's pretty far out, isn't it? Matsya, you know, Vraha,
Matsya
pig.
Avtar.
I mean, God, you can't get much more degraded. Of course, Krishna's not an ordinary pig. He's transcendental,
course.
but he came in that form, you know. So Krishna can do anything to
Anything,
achieve a
yes.
purpose. We know Nrsimha came as a lion,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
rah, ripping out his guts, isn't it? Ripped out his guts, put it around his neck. God, that's pretty intense. You know, so Krishna can do anything, you know, and he's never contaminated. That's the thing. We should never think whatever Krishna does, that he never gets contaminated. Like a lot of people criticize Krishna. Why is he dancing with all the gopis in the night? This is like nonsense. Like that. You know, it's like the worst thing in Vedic culture to dance in the night with unmarried girls. You know, that's like worst thing in Vedic culture. But what's the worst thing in Vedic culture? When Krishna does it, that's the best. The Rasa Leela is the topmost Leela. That's the ultimate Leela. And devotees glorify Krishna for the Rasa Leela. But anyone else does that, except for Krishna, nonsense, rascal, the lowest of the lowest. But Krishna does it. It's like we glorify Krishna for doing that because he's God, you know, so he can do anything like that. It said this, the example is the sun can shine on a dirty place. And what's the result? Does the sun become contaminated?
No.
The dirty place gets purified. The dirty place gets purified.
Definitely.
Like that. So the sun doesn't become contaminated, but the dirty place becomes purified. So saying there's a verse in the Bhagavatam saying, whatever a very powerful Ishvara personality controller does, then they do not become affected by sinful reactions. They do not become affected. However, an ordinary person should never imitate them. It's even said, not even in their dreams. Don't even think about it. Forget about doing it. Don't even think about it, you know. Jodi's telling me to speak a bit softly. Like getting excited. Talking about the relationship with Krishna's devotees is so
but
exciting.
you don't have to worry about nearby neighbors, no? It's okay. You're just trying to sleep.
Yeah, it's only Jayanti's ears that are hurting. But yeah, it's very, very sweet, very sweet. Okay, let's finish the purport. Oh, we did. Did you finish the
already
purport?
He read
Oh,
the
yeah, we
whole
did. Yeah, we did. Yeah, yeah. No, I've forgotten where I am. But yeah, it's very wonderful. Yeah, very sweet. So yeah, the devotees, they can understand Krishna. They can understand Krishna. Krishna's so pleased with their pure devotional service. He fully enlightens them all about his glories. You know, so. And the devotee is like a mouthpiece for Krishna. You know, like that. I have no idea actually what I'm going to speak anytime I speak. I have no idea. There's just all these things come out, and I'm like amazed at what comes out of my mouth. I don't even know. It's like because you know the devotee becomes a puppet for Krishna. So it just and the devotee says, "Make me dance, make me dance, make me dance." You know, Prabhupada said that in his prayer, "Make me dance." You know, like that. And we're a fool. We know that. We're a complete fool. I don't know anything. I can't be speaking this stuff. I don't even know this stuff. You know, but Krishna somehow uses us as an instrument. You know, that's the thing. One time and many years ago, I was giving a class in the Auckland Temple, and it turned out to be what everyone thought was a really nice class. And people came up to me, devotees came up to me afterwards and said, wow, boy, that was a great class. That was just awesome. And that obviously at that time inflated my head and I became proud. And then I was asked to give class at someone's house in the evening. And I was singing, you know, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari before the class as usual. And then it was time to speak, for me to speak. And I opened my mouth, and do you know what came out?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Just nothing between the ears, you know, completely zero. And do you know what I realized? That was actually the best class ever
Mhm.
for me. I learned more from that class than any other class. Because you know what I learned?
Not to get inflated.
Yeah, not to get proud.
Yeah.
And we're not the doer.
No.
Krishna says that in the Bhagavad Gita, 247, I think it is, that we're not the doer. And I realized that night. No, I mean literally realized through my ego being smashed, you know, I realized that, you know, that hunker of false ego. Is that the best? Can you just check that? Katra Mati Manika, I think it's 247. You can check that out later. I think it's 247. So everything is controlled by Krishna, you know, but in false ego, we think we're the doer. This is the mistake, you know, but that was a great lesson for me. I learned so much from that happening to me.
247
Yeah,
is
247.
Paramanya.
Not? Okay. That must be three something then. Can you check that out? Look on the back. 327. Yeah, 327.
That's more like
Yeah. Prakriti Kriyamanani. Yeah, I learned so much from that. That we're not the doer. Ever since then, I always know that I'm not speaking. It's ecstatic. And, you know, it's like Prabhupada read his own books, and no author does that. No author reads their own books. Why would you read your own book? Because you know what's in the book, right? Because you wrote the book. But Prabhupada read his own books so avidly again and again. And sometimes devotees ask them, like, you know, how are you reading your own books? Prabhupada said, you know what he said?
326.
It's not
Yeah.
his book.
It's not
Krishna's
my
book.
book. It's Krishna's book. He was just dictating it through me. That's why I love to read these books, because they're not my books like that.
But that's probably why these people are changing it, because he said they're not my books.
It's another thing.
But then how can they change Krishna's words? No, cannot.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Gianty's
Yeah,
getting
that's
worked
right.
up about all this book changes now. Me too, but like that. But anyway. But yeah, Krishna, that's how the devotee knows Krishna, because Krishna is so pleased by the devotee's service that he enlightens the devotee. You know, a devotee cannot remain ignorant. If the devotee's, you know, even the devotee is sweeping the floor of the temple, you know, cleaning the toilet of the temple, it can become highly enlightened, more than the greatest scholar on the planet, because Krishna is pleased by his humble service. Krishna is pleased by the humble service of the devotee, and they can become highly enlightened in Krishna consciousness and understanding Krishna by that, like that. But the devotee always has to maintain that humble service attitude. If you lose that humble service attitude, then you're disconnected immediately. Immediately you lose that, you know, like when I lost it, I had it in the morning, and then at night I lost that humble service attitude. I think, oh, I'm giving a good class. I am big pundit. And then immediately you're disconnected again. So it's not fixed. Like I'm saying, you can go from pure devotee to a demon. Like in the morning, I might have been a pure devotee. In the evening, I was a demon. So yeah, we're always marginal like that, you know, so we can oscillate between being demoniac and being a pure devotee like that. So we have to always be careful. One devotee was saying in class, like this in India, there's road signs that says Sarvadana. You know that, Gulshan? The road sign will say Sarvadana. What does Sarvadana mean?
Careful.
Be careful.
Caution.
Be caution. There's some roadworks happening, right? Some roadworks, so they'll say Savadana, be careful. So like that, and bhakti and devotional service, you have to be very careful because you're dealing with God. He's the most sensitive person. If you make him upset, oh my God, that's like Sudarshan coming after you. Off with your head, mate. Be very careful because that's the thing, you're dealing with God, but also like, imagine like dealing with Prabhupada. You have to be those disciples should have been very careful. If you do anything to hurt Prabhupada or whatever, man, your bhakti is flush down the toilet for like 1,000 lifetimes.
You be great demon if the Sudarshan Chakra come to you. If Sudarshan
We won't
Chakra
even
doesn't
get
come
that.
from all.
That'll be just Durga like stabbing us with a tissue for it, giving us a poke in the bum for
Try
nonsense,
them, yeah.
like that.
So
you
you'd be
have to
really
be
lucky if Sudarshan Chakra comes to you.
Yeah.
You'd be really lucky.
Yeah.
Shishupal was very lucky.
Yeah. So there's two things going on. We have an amazing opportunity to progress, to go to the spiritual world, to be personally associating with Krishna in the next life and everything like that. And on the other side, if you make offenses to Krishna, the devotee like that, then you can wreck yourself, for a long time. So just because, we're associating with such great personalities, we should always, the real protection for that is always, like Lord Chaitanya said, more humble than the grass, tolerant than the tree. Give all respect to others. Don't expect any respect. That humility and respect is the best protection against making offenses to Krishna and the devotees like that. And then we can just go onwards and upwards and upwards and upwards. But yeah, if we get proud, wow, watch out, that we can destroy ourselves, completely like that. So yeah, Savadana, we always keep that road sign in our spiritual life also. Interestingly, in the Guru, I'll just finish off the Guru Vandana prayers in every ISKCON temple. We, after the Darshan Arati, we turn around to Prabhupada Murti and we sing Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sadma Bando Moi Savadhana Mate. So it's saying like that Shri Guru Charana Padma, the lotus feet of the spiritual master, Kevala Bhakati Sadhana, they're the only way to achieve the pure devotional service, the lotus feet of the Guru, like that. Therefore, one should always bow down very carefully. Bandamoi Savadana Mate. One should always be, very humble and very carefully obedient and bow down to the spiritual master like that. Means not just physically, of course, bowing down is there. So we bow down to the Guru physically, but bowing down also means, be very obedient to following his instructions like that very carefully. Otherwise, flush down the toilet. Be very careful like that. Wow, that was ecstatic. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
I learned a lot. Thank you very much.
Look at you.
I feel like a little kid. That's good.
Jayanti is worried,
No, I'm just laughing looking at him.
She's laughing. Nice. Thank you.
Thank
Anyone
you.
want to say anything?
Okay. No, thank you so much.
Hare
Good.
Krishna. That's it.
Hare
No,
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.